Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. We're back again. Tell me what's going on. What's your muck high, muck low?
Muck high and muck low. Let's see. Muck low. I feel very bloated lately, and I'm not liking how my body feels at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what's going on. I'm like, I've been eating too much, but I just came off of a cycle, so it's not that I'm like bloated for that reason, but I am just like not feeling my body this week at all. Muck high. I just got some things rearranged on my schedule. So like, I feel like my whole schedule opens up next week and it leaves room for so many activities. I cannot wait.
Oh, maybe even some exercise.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe I'll get my butt up early enough and not be interrupted.
Oh dear.
What about you, Linda?
Friday. It's Friday. We had a bit of a morning getting out the door today. The kids were still awake late last night, like really late, like 11 p.m. late, my older two. And so they slept in naturally and they didn't even sleep in that much. They were still up before school time and everything. It was 8:10, I think, and they've got to get out the door about 8:30ish to walk to school on time. And everyone was just a bit frazzled. Everyone. Mm-hmm. Yep. Quinn included. Quinn also was up very early. So I had two older ones sleep in and then the two littles wake up early. So it's like just a little bit of synchronization might be nice. Anyway, yes. So yes, it's going to be a long day. We'll be definitely having a lay down and a rest, I think. Hopefully me included. As far as high goes, I'm getting some stuff done. Really coming off the back of sticky note weekend. Feeling a bit focused on some things which have been overhanging. Those school forms are now done. Finally. School forms. And yeah, just looking forward to having some great conversations over the next few weeks, hopefully, because they really nourish me a lot, which is part of why we're here.
Yes, I love it. Well, we kind of had an idea about this episode to get us started for our podcast that we're doing together. And I figured we would talk a little bit about us and our whys. So, Linda, tell me a little bit more about you. Not that I don't already know a little bit about you.
For the outside world. So I am Linda, obviously, and I'm down in little old Tasmania, which has some reputation in the Looney Tunes sense of the Tassie Devil, the spinning Tassie Devil, which is not actually true at all. It's very much a cartoon figure. But Tassie is the little island down the bottom of Australia. Looks like it's been bitten off, essentially. Pretty smaller part of the world. But also pretty pristine as well. I've got 4 kids, 11, 8, 2.5, and 5 months, almost 6 months now. Goodness. Oh.
Fun. I love it. You have such a fun background. I wish I could come visit you soon.
Maybe one day.
It's on my 5-year plan.
5 years. And yeah, it's sort of, I mean, aside from being a parent, I also love podcasting. I'm writing a book at the moment. I'm doing a few of those, essentially those things are a lot of self-care for me, to be able to be have an identity outside mother. Because it is sometimes very mundane and it is repetitive and relentless. And when you've got kids that get up early continuously, for you, not so much for me. My kids are pretty good at the morning thing. It can be quite an interesting role, while really, really rewarding in many, 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 many ways. It can also be very eye-opening, very human.
Yes, definitely.
Tell me about your humanness. As everything's happening in the background.
My husband and son just got done with tub time. It sounds like there's a naked child running around the house right now, chased by his father, saying, "This is not cool, kid."
Real life example, living
God,
proof.
definitely is.
about Jill, just listen in the background.
We have a pretty good microphone though, it doesn't capture that part. So but I am Jill. I am from New York, USA, so other side of the world from Linda. I too am a mom. I have one son. He is, oh my gosh, almost 3. We're down to like 6 weeks before he turns 3 years old. It's ridiculous. I can't believe we have both survived so far, because this is hard, and that defines my background with being a mom. I did start working from home as an entrepreneur when my son was born. I don't love podcasting as much as Linda does, but I do enjoy talking about motherhood and being outspoken about what it is that we do go through and our lives and the humanness that it all takes. I too am in the process of writing a book, so that's going to be fun for both of us to hopefully get done this year. And let's see what else. I guess that's really it, right? I think that's it for both of us.
Yeah, that's a very brief. Tell me, because I've heard it before, but for the benefit of others who haven't, you have a pretty powerful experience / story postpartum as well. Do you want to share that again?
Sure. I'm gonna kind of keep it brief because it is it's a lot, but I will start with, first, I did not like being pregnant. I had a very textbook pregnancy, but it was such a foreign feeling in my own body that I absolutely hated it. I didn't start enjoying it until my 8th month. I think it was 8 months pregnant when I was like, oh my God, this is actually kind of nice. I like this. And then it got to the threshold of like, no, this is too much. This child is too big in my body and I can't hold it up anymore.
Oh yes, like I'm done. Get out. Get out. Ah.
We had a semi-traumatic experience in labor and delivery, but really only because of my body's fight or flight response to surgery for a cesarean. And my husband had never seen that type of experience with me. And I'm a tattoo person, so I'm used to having that response in my body from the pain that I get from getting a tattoo, is the shaking and the freezing and whatever else. But that was my husband's first time seeing it, and that was the most violent episode that I've ever had for that kind of response. So it was traumatic for both of us. But then I didn't get to hold my son after, because of all the medication and stuff that I was on, wasn't leaving me. And then I instantly did not feel a bond with him. And I think that was pretty much like the start of where my postpartum depression and anxiety kicked in, was that instant, and feeling guilty for not bonding with him, or feeling like I had bonded with him. It took me 18 months to finally feel that unconditional love. Like, I knew it was there, but it didn't actually like click. And it was almost 18 months before it finally did. So it was hard. I had a lot of rage throughout it. Destroyed some property in the house because of the rage, like broke a computer because I punched it, threw a table into the wall. Punched a hole in the wall, all kinds of fun things, But here we are, 3 years later. Like I said before, I'm surprised we all survived, but there was a lot of learning how to manage things. And a lot of it had to do with figuring out what self-care meant for me and how to apply it.
Yeah. And it's so hard to actually say out loud, especially the rage part, because I think we try to hide so much of that behind doors and think, and it becomes a loop, I think. I mean, it certainly has for me. I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but just hearing you share that, I really appreciate you being able to be open and honest. And it's not an easy thing to say out loud, because for me, I also experienced a lot of the rage, but unfortunately that also has been directed at other people. And then I'll feel angry or shameful or remorse or regretful about being in that rage state. And then I'll come back to rage again because I'm feeling all of these guilty crap feelings about rage, and then I'm not getting be angry because I was angry in the first place. Yep. And I'm like, here I go again.
Such a cycle.
Same pattern. Stop. And it's almost like you're observing it from the outside and going, I literally feel like I cannot do anything about this. Add in hormones, lack of sleep, pressures from society, thinking that we have this idea of self-care as this yogic, meditative sort of go to the hills and sing do re mi for 6 hours at a time. Look, exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Like there's also a lot of pressure on us to really to not have our kids in front of us when we're working, especially working from home. I mean, it's got better due to COVID, I think, but even before then, I would have my kids on my lap because I've been doing, burp. See, there you go. I've been
working from home with kids.
I've been doing this on and off since my first. I had a little time where I went back to a daycare centre in the office, so I could literally see or hear what was going on with him, and he would know that I was there as well, and it was quite challenging, very challenging. But I think that's part of the reason of why we're here, because I do want to debunk some of the myths behind self-care, particularly that I think we are encouraged or feel like it's required over and above our own instincts or our own love for our children as well. Because I remember somebody talking about this where they'd asked literally hundreds of mums, and the old saying of you put your oxygen mask on first, and they'd asked hundreds of mums, and every one of them, I think, well, maybe one or two, every one of them was like, no, I'm going to put my kids on first. I am doing my child's oxygen mask first before my own. And we're told to do it differently. We're told that that's not the case.
I don't know. I might not put his on first.
No.
Glue all over the place right now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Your oxygen mask is just stuck to your face.
Yeah.
Fine. It's not just a one size fits all type setup though. What's good for me is not necessarily good for you. Sure, we can start talking about it and recognizing, but it's not, even sometimes day to day, depending on my capacity, tiredness, pressure, all the things. I can do things really well one day and then really muck them up the next.
Oh yeah, you can like we're going to be doing the high and lows at the beginning of each episode, because that's really how our day goes. Like, we're going to have something fantastic that happens, and at the same time there's going to be something really shitty that happened today also. Like, it's just going to be how it is. And where it may not be each day, it's definitely going to be throughout the week. And yeah, it's definitely powerful to share those highs and lows. I've been doing it for a while. I know you've been doing it with your whole family for a while, which is amazing. Love that practice. I find that it really helps as like, not therapy, but like it's therapeutic. Like, it's almost like journaling and just getting the really high, the really low crap out of your head, just to be like, well, I survived at least. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is something I think that I've seen a pattern of in the social space, society space, where we're just think positive, positive negativity, like just thinking that we can just have positive and positive our way through the shit is really toxic. It's really just, it's really not life. And then when we do get some real life glue in the background examples that come up, we think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be positive? What is wrong with me? And I think that's led to a lot of my own frustration or rage, or this underlying question of what is wrong with me? Why can't I just bond with my child? Why can't I just get them out the door to school on time? Why can't I get them to sleep, at 8 p.m. instead of 11 p.m.?
My husband and I had a conversation about it recently. He's like, well, yeah, just don't think negatively. Just make it a positive thought. I'm like, how can I make a negative thought in my head seem positive if I don't see any positivity? Like, I can't change how I see that. Like, it's still gonna, and then I'm not gonna believe myself if I try and say something positive about it.
We need more discussions about this. I think we're going to add this as a future episode.
I can't like lie to myself. I'm not a good liar, first of all, so why would I believe myself?
Poker face doesn't work with toothpaste in your hair. Nobody's going to take you seriously.
Oh man. Well, I think one other thing we wanted to talk about, Linda, was how we got the idea to start this podcast.
Oh yes.
Well, I should say we didn't really get the idea to start this podcast. It was we like to call it voluntold.
Yes. For anyone who hasn't listened to the trailer, go back and have a quick listen to that snippet there, because there's a certain person in our life who encouraged this collaboration in more ways than one.
Oh my gosh. What was it? It was the homework that we were going around the room in our mastermind group, and we were all trying to guess, or like suggest what, baby. No, that's Linda and Siggy. Baby. We were all trying to figure out each other's, like, the thing that they're going to promote.
The thing that they're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone was going for me, and they're like, oh, we could see a podcast. We could see a podcast. We could see a podcast. And then in comes our dear friend, Kim, who, like Linda said in the trailer, will be a snippet of what exactly was said. But she's like, yeah, so here you go. You have to start this together, and it has to be done by this date. And so here we are, releasing on Mother's Day a podcast for moms and their self-care.
Yes, and there's usually ulterior motives in her encouragement of this, and I think we're both very grateful that she did encourage us. Let's say encourage instead of push.
I'm sure we probably would have been able to come up with this idea on our own, Kim, without Kim, excuse me.
Sure. But how much of life would get in the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. So, time for bed for your little boy.
Yes. Time for bed. Daddy's gonna go bring you to bed. You gonna say night nights?
Yep. It's almost time to see what this one wants to do too. So we're going to carry on with our day in our mucked up ways. And we also do hope that you can unstuck your muck. Thanks so much, Jill.
Thanks, Linda.